Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses. I want to talk a little bit about our NNSA facilities. We have mentioned this in several of our hearings. Most of these are over 40 years old. Some are more than 75 years old. They go back to the Manhattan Project. And these facilities present numerous single points of failure. So to understand the gravity of the situation, I'd like for each witness to provide a specific example of a potential consequence to the stability of the U.S. nuclear enterprise if it must continue to rely on this aging infrastructure. And talk a little bit about how this is a budgetary issue, how this is a personnel issue, and how this is a national security issue, because if any facilities experience operational shutdowns, warhead deliveries may be affected. So let's start with that and look at this deferred maintenance around these facilities and talk about how you're going to deal with this in this budget. And Secretary Granholm, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Senator. It is, and I know Dr. Verdon can speak with great specificity, but I think your point about if we do not modernize, if we do not have the deterrent capability, then we put our nation at risk, bottom line. So we have to be able to modernize the warheads, and in order to do that, we have to have facilities that will allow for that modernization to occur. So it is a national security issue, obviously. It is also, I would say, an opportunity for the U.S. to continue to build up its manufacturing backbone inside of the United States. And so that the issue that Senator Ernst began to raise, and I think Senator Tuberville, you were suggesting as well, is to bring and make sure that we have the capabilities for our own defense here in the United States without having to rely upon others. So from an economic point of view, from a national security point of view, we have to do this. It will require budgetary commitment. I know that was the third part of your question, and we want to make sure that we do this in a thoughtful and responsible way to make sure that we meet the defense requirements and do so in a way that manages and are stewards of the taxpayer dollars well.
Okay.
Yes, I just add that I agree with your statements. I think the uranium processing facility at the Y-12 is one of the key examples of that we're trying to get out of, eventually be able to get programmatic work out of a 70-year-old building that was built during the Manhattan Project that we're critically dependent on now. So, and that's the approach we've taken to the whole, our whole approach of replacing a lot of these old facilities is identifying what those are key, that if we were to lose them, would really cause the strategic commander a great deal of difficulty operationally. And those are our priorities to focus, of which, like the uranium processing facility is one, the lithium processing facility proposed and starting to be designed at Y-12. There's a number of them that we've worked very hard to identify which one of those would really be instrumental to get done as quickly as possible, and that's been the focus of the program. And those that we can risk mitigate out longer, we've delayed them just to make sure that we can workload level as well as cash flow level. But your point is well taken. Agree with the Secretary that we have reached the tipping point. We have to do this, otherwise there will be consequences to the operations.
Dr. Verdon, when you talk about scheduling modernization for the key secondaries group and the capabilities that are there with enriched uranium, depleted uranium, lithium, how does this lack of attention to meeting the deferred maintenance backlog, what does that do, and what kind of challenge does that present to the secondaries, not only in an economic manner, but also with a personnel manner?
So, and again, what we tried very hard to do is we've prioritized the deferred maintenance we do. It is clearly applied to those facilities that are most important to, from workforce safety and programmatic deliverables. That's where we applied the money first. And for a number of the facilities, like at Y-12, which you mentioned for the secondaries, they've reached the point to where, again, we're working on replacing most of them because we recognize that, affectionately we say sometimes the paint is holding the building together.
Yeah.
And so those are the ones that we've prioritized to be replaced. That effectively is a different approach to deferred maintenance, but we think it's the best approach. And for those other areas, we've prioritized the work to the highest priority buildings that we have on the sites. So again, that's the approach we've taken, driven again by DoD deliverables and workforce and environmental safety.
Thank you.